glad we got that out the way.
Well, it's important because, I mean, you do this. You produce, yes?
Yes.
You act?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, I used to. I used to
well,
act.
we're going to talk about this.
Yes.
Because I'm excited. I'm really excited. Okay, so welcome to
Thank
our
you.
episode on the Princess of STEM Diaries. I am so excited. Our guest today is amazing. Okay, so Mekita.
Yes.
Do we call you doctor?
Some people do. Some of my friends still call me doctor.
I'm really impressed. Doctor. Why doesn't everybody call you doctor?
Because I had switched fields. I had a total transition from engineering to moving to my stint in Hollywood.
Okay.
And basically I started over and no one knew, or I would say even would care.
Okay.
Which is why I didn't tell them
Okay.
that I was an engineer and I had a PhD and all that. I didn't want them to have preconceived notions of me, especially since I was a little older.
Ooh, that makes sense because then they'll start calculating. Okay.
Yeah, and I can tell you how all that works,
Yeah.
how you basically progress in that system.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you about that, but first, we're at the NSBE conference.
Yeah.
What does NSBE mean to you?
Oh, NSBE means so much to me. I have such a great affinity for NSBE because it really shaped me into the person that I am today, the leader that I am today. I'm able to be an amazing producer now of movies because so many of the skills that I learned while I was on regional boards and national convention planning committees for, 10, 15,000 people. That's just producing. I didn't know that at the time, but it's producing.
That's amazing. So why did you join NSBE?
I joined NSBE because I went to Illinois Institute of Technology in Chicago for my degree in electrical engineering.
Okay.
And there were not a lot of people that looked like me.
The lonely only is real.
Exactly. And then I didn't even have other outlets because I think they do a little bit better now, but I don't think Illinois IIT even had like a basketball team or a football team.
Okay.
Our homecoming, I remember this clear as day, was the women's volleyball game.
Okay.
So NSBE was an outlet for me to actually have a social life with people that look like me.
That's fair.
That's what started it off.
Okay.
And then it just turned into something so much more amazing.
Why leadership? Because you can be a NSBE and never serve, right? You just be a member. You said regional and national positions.
Yes.
Why?
And started with the chapter president.
Okay, chapter president.
So started with chapter president. I was actually dating the chapter president at the time.
Okay.
At IIT.
Wait, was there a coup? There was a coup.
And I guess I kind of felt that he wasn't doing good enough. And so I moved him out the way, my boyfriend out the way.
Yes.
And took over as chapter.
Wait, were you guys still together?
I can't even remember. Okay. Probably not after that.
You're like, this was our breakup story.
This is when we broke up.
Yeah.
And so I became chapter president, and that was so fulfilling. And because of that, I started really just growing in the organization. I started on 2 regional boards from there and went on. Okay.
Favorite NSBE memory?
I don't want this to be like just braggadocious, but
it's allowed.
2 things. It has to do with me winning. I guess I always have to win.
Yeah.
I was presented with the Golden Torch Award, which is very special here for Graduate Student of the Year.
Yes.
And then also I won first place for the National Motivational Speaking Competition. And those 2 things.
When did we have that?
Guess they don't have it anymore.
They don't?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have won a Golden Torch Award for Graduate Student of the Year, so I feel like thank you because this is amazing. Okay, so Golden Torch Award, leadership, all of that. You were at Illinois Institute of Technology for your bachelor's.
IIT. Which I think they call Illinois Tech now, like
Illinois
they're so fancy.
Oh,
Illinois. So you probably now know what I'm talking about. Illinois Tech.
Illinois Tech. Okay, but then you decided, you know what? I want to keep going. Tell me about that pathway.
So back then, there weren't a lot of people, and I'll say this again, that looked like me in engineering and the sciences and STEM.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't say STEM, but now it's STEM.
Yeah.
And so they threw money at you, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
I loved engineering,
Yeah.
right? And so I wanted to further my
You loved engineering. Tell me about.
I
Like,
love problem. I love
okay.
I love problem solving.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people are like, ooh, I'm in it and I'm in too deep, so I didn't want to do it.
It
Or
wasn't easy.
Okay. Okay.
But just that problem solving aspect of it, I've always
Okay.
loved.
So you're in a happy place.
So let me tell you, one of the reasons I went into engineering in the first place, electrical and computer engineering, I went to Morgan Park High School, and I was in this AP physics class.
Okay.
And in my class, this particular session, there were 5 groups. We're all competing against each other, and you had to read the little electrical diagram. And if you connected the wires right, your light bulbs would light up in a right sequence.
Okay.
And me and the person that I was with, my partner, we connected the wires right, and the bulbs lit up. And so I was like, ooh, we're the best, we won. And that always, and from that, I was like, maybe electrical and computer engineering. But getting back to what you said, back in the day, they're like, hey, if you want to make a lot of money, be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer.
Yes.
And so when I was on the engineering path in undergrad, I applied for all these scholarships, and I was able to go to Georgia Tech, and I had a full ride to Georgia Tech to get my master's.
That is amazing.
And ended up getting a full ride for my PhD. So that's one reason to get one.
Oh, okay, right? You're like, well, I'm not losing anything here. They're investing in me. Okay, so was it still an electrical and computer?
Yes.
All 3 degrees?
Yes.
Do you miss it?
A little bit. Yes, I do.
Really?
A little bit.
Okay. But then there's a career switch here. I have to ask.
But I also had nightmares once I did switch careers of solving equations. I've literally had nightmares for a few years.
You're like, oh, these problem sets are haunting me.
They were haunting me.
No. Wait, are you being serious?
I'm serious.
Okay, so I have to ask these questions because to get a master's and PhD, most people are like, you're going to go into higher ed. You're going to be a professor. Was that ever the goal?
Yep. I actually had some interviews. I turned down a job. I was offered a job to be a professor at a college, and that's when. And you don't only have to be a professor.
You don't. You can do a whole lot of things.
Yeah, so I also was considering other jobs in corporate. But when I was offered that job, I think that was eye-opening for me because I knew what my life would look like. So the department, if you will, were, again, no one looked like me.
Yeah.
No one. They were either foreigners or white men, no women. And I tell people engineering then wasn't as cool as it is now. Then it was like literally pocket protectors. And I'm not even that old, right? But now you got Facebook and Google, and it's so sexy to, be at Apple. It wasn't like
You're
that.
like, I could do that. Oh, no.
Yeah, so
it was like Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like, for real. Yeah. Okay.
So that's when I decided, you know what? Let me try my other passion for a while.
Which was
the arts.
What part of the arts? The arts is broad. Was it always acting?
Okay. It was everything.
Okay.
So I was always on stage. When I was younger, I was dancing. I used to choreograph. We used to be in the little competitions in the neighborhood. And Chicago State University used to do these talent shows every year. I used to choreograph the dances.
Yes.
What else? I was in plays. So drama, I was at the ETA Theater. And so the coach, I like to say, the coach that I had when I was at ETA was the same coach that Jennifer Hudson had. And she thanked when she won her Oscar.
That's amazing.
That was my coach.
That was your coach. Do you guys still talk?
No.
Oh, no. We're going to get you guys
I was in elementary school.
It doesn't matter.
I was very young.
Okay. I'm like, it doesn't matter. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I've always had a journey. Yeah, and I always loved the arts. And so when I was at Georgia Tech, a lot of people don't know this, but I was literally living 2 lives. I was in the lab during the day, doing my engineering. Because when you get a PhD, you have to make a unique contribution to the world, right? So I was in the lab working on things, trying to figure out what my unique contribution to engineering was going to be. And at night, I was, taking acting classes or being on production sets and doing all these other things to just fulfill the other side of my
Is this
passion.
a symptom of being the lonely only?
Maybe.
Because I'm always like, if you could be with a different community, would you have continued to pursue this
I don't
passion?
know. Maybe not. Maybe
Flashpoint.
not.
I'm like a flashpoint in that. That's
Maybe
interesting.
not, yeah.
But then we would miss this talent.
Mhm.
I don't think you have to choose. So a lot of people think you have to fit in some box and you have to do this one thing. I don't think you have to choose. I do think you have to be real. Like, you can do all things, just not all at the same time.
Mhm.
So I think it's wonderful that you gave yourself space to explore all of the dimensions of who you
So
are.
well said. So well said.
Well, thank you. I'll take that. I'll take that. So, PhD, turned down a job.
Turned down a job.
And then what
to be
was
a professor.
To be a professor. You're
and
like,
and I told my parents were so excited. Can you imagine, like, your parents, you did all this school, and they're probably like, she's finally going to get out the house, and she's probably going to finally make $80,000 a year, which was
like,
a big deal.
It is a big deal.
And I come home and I'm like, yeah, the interview went fine. They offered me the job, but I'm not taking it. Can you imagine?
What did they say?
I could hear a pin drop.
Oh, that's sometimes worse.
Yeah. I could hear a pin drop.
And you were like, I'm okay. Did you have to like reassure them?
I didn't go crazy. I didn't fall off the deep end.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then what did you decide to do?
So I moved out to Los Angeles, packed my car. You heard the story before many times. Packed my car. Anything that could fit in my car went. Everything else got left behind. Moved to Los Angeles. And I did start acting when I was there.
Yeah.
And I did a little Caesars commercial. Had a line on General Hospital or one of those. But I quickly decided that I like to have a little more control over my career in my day-to-day. Because, I'm a leader, right?
Oh, yeah.
So just going to auditions and sitting at home and waiting for them to approve me, I was like, this doesn't really feel right. This is not me.
I'm curious. I don't know anything about the world of acting, right? You're waiting for callbacks. You go to it. Who arranges all that for you?
The casting directors and the agent that represents you.
So you had
have to have an agent.
I was about to ask, like, how did you find your agent?
The funniest story.
Okay, I need to know.
So when I was on my regional board for NSBE, all the boards have advisors.
Yes.
So my advisor, her name was Cynthia.
Yeah.
Had moved out to Los Angeles years ago because her daughter played Ruby Bridges. The first little girl who integrated the school.
The schools.
Yes.
So she's acting.
So her daughter was acting, and she played Ruby Bridges in that movie.
Okay.
It's very, very well-respected movie. And so I guess she did so much work with her daughter, she ended up over time becoming an agent from NSBE. Turned agent. And so when I went out there, she became my agent.
That is beautiful.
And I didn't really know she was out there. It was like we had a mutual friend, and I think I went to a dinner over his house or something.
Yeah.
And I saw her, and she was like, wait a minute, are you? And I was like, are you? And that's how it started.
That's amazing.
So funny.
So NSBE always is
always delivers.
It's literally
NSBE always delivers
every time. It's like the best organization for connection and everything. That's beautiful. So now you have an agent, but you're not feeling this tryout, callback culture.
Yes.
So what do you do?
So it's interesting because I always grew up in a church.
Okay.
And I was going to this church in Los Angeles. And the pastor said it was one of those times when, he asked for seed money and God is going to bless you. And he said a lot of you will receive your blessing before you leave. He said, I think he said today or soon.
Yeah.
But he said some of you before you leave this parking lot.
Okay.
And if I'm lying, I'm flying. I am driving out the parking lot. And this guy that I had met before, I didn't really know him.
Yeah.
Called me and he said, you know what? You have a PhD. You must be smart. Why don't you help me produce this movie? And I was literally like, what is producing? I don't know what that is.
You're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
And he was like, you just help me put it together. And you don't tell an engineer all they got to do is put something together. I can put anything together. Come on.
You're like, I got you.
I got this. Yeah. Just put it together. I didn't know what I was signing up for. Boy.
Yeah. But
yeah, so we ended up producing this little independent movie, feature film.
Okay.
But he spent like maybe $15,000 and no one should ever see it.
I was just about to ask, where can we see this film?
No, you don't want to see that one.
I need to see the first film you produced.
No, we don't want to see that one.
Oh.
But another young lady was the star of the movie and a producer, because she said that she really wanted to get into producing, and she was on a J.J. Abrams show.
Okay.
And she said, I really want to get into producing, so I did this to get my feet wet, and because the director's a childhood friend of mine.
Okay.
And after we did that show, she said, why don't you come and help me basically produce a real movie? She didn't say it like that.
She did. Let's teach you some real experience.
She was like, I got all my friends that actually are working actors. They're going to be in my movie, and we produced the most wonderful movie called Love and Other Four-Letter Words. With Flex Alexander, Essence Atkins,
I really feel
Tasha Smith, who's blown up since then.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty much, it was incredible.
And you were the producer.
My official title, I think, was co-producer at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she only kept the producer title for her.
Yeah. She was like, I'm the producer.
She deserved it.
Okay. That's fair.
She deserved it.
But that's exciting.
She asked me to come along.
But you trusted her.
I trusted her, and that led to I produced maybe like 3 more independent movies.
Okay.
The one I did under my banner is called Speed Dating. And that was fun. It had Wesley Jonathan, Vanessa Simmons, Chico, Leonard, the guy from Wild 'N Out. Like every season, he was known for being on every season in Wild 'N Out. He was amazing in it. We had so many, Holly Robinson Pete.
Yeah,
had so many amazing people in that movie. And so after that, I made a critical decision. Independent producing is hard, especially. You either need to have the Rolodex or the network of people.
Yeah.
Or you need to have the money. You need to have the access.
One or the other.
One or the other. And I had neither, right? So I decided I like producing, but I got to really figure out how to do it and make a living doing it. And so I decided to go back to school, believe it or not, as if I needed more school. But I went to USC, which is probably the top producing program.
Exactly.
They only accept 25 students a year. They say it's harder to get in that program than Harvard.
Okay, now I said I wasn't going to say this, but I have a friend that went to this school.
The Stark program is called the Stark Producing
program. Now I got to ask. But he's a film producer, so I'm assuming that's what he did. But I was like, I'm not going to talk about that because I don't know. It's not my world. But he went from engineering to USC to be a film producer.
Oh, I wonder.
So I wonder. Now I'm gonna have to look him up.
Because you could still go to the cinema program at USC at large.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Peter Stark program is a very specific.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but he could have for sure.
Yeah, but you did this prestigious program after already
still paying for it.
But you went to school 3 times. Like I'm like, do you know what that takes?
I got way too many degrees. Way too many.
You think so? They haven't all served you? I feel like they've served you. You use your engineering skills to be a producer. You use your, obviously.
All of it came together.
It all came together.
All of it came together.
Maybe it didn't have to be that path, but it seems awesome. So you're in film school. How does that help you?
It helped me. It basically shocked me.
Ooh.
Because picture this. Like, I'm used to going to the top schools.
Yeah.
When you graduate from the top schools, you get top jobs.
Yes.
That's my life. That's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So I'm at a top school.
Yeah.
I thought for sure that I was going to graduate from that program and be like running Fox.
You're like top school, top job.
Right.
Yeah.
First month I'm there, we had speakers from the industry all the time. So there's one speaker, first month I was there. He was like, yeah, so what usually happens is you graduate and you'll start off as, now this is when you go the executive route. And I think I didn't mention, so after producing was so hard, I had a little bit of PTSD from it. So I figured I'd go the executive route. And that just means work for a studio or,
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? How this happens is, he was explaining, you start off on a desk. That's what they call it, on a desk.
Okay.
Which means you're an assistant.
Oh.
You start off on a desk.
That's not for me.
And then you work your way up. And as if that isn't good enough, you'll probably make McDonald's wages on that desk. Almost fell out my chair.
So, no.
Yeah.
There's no bypassing this?
Not really.
Oh.
Unless you decide not
You
to
have
go
the
that
Rolodex.
route and you produce your own movie and,
Got it.
Yeah.
So you did it.
A lot of people, I'll just say a lot of people, they don't, the other route you can take is, and I know a lot of people have heard this route. You start in a mailroom at an agency and work your way up.
Yeah.
And then once you work your way up to be an agent, then sometimes you can bypass the assistant desk at like a studio. Yeah. But you still was on the desk at an agency.
You're still going to be at a desk.
Yeah, it's still,
okay. It's part of the
mailroom, desk,
Yeah.
It's part of it.
Okay. So that was your path? Is that what you did?
That was my path. And so my first job was at MGM.
Okay.
I was on a desk at MGM. And my second job was Lifetime, which I stayed for 5 or 6 years and made a plethora of movies.
Really?
And then after that, went to
love
Netflix.
Those Lifetime movies. Are they like the ones that I adore at Christmas time?
So funny enough, one of my favorite Christmas movies was produced by Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah.
And it was the most adorable movie called Christmas Unwrapped. And I did another Christmas movie with Tia Mowry, which was another adorable Christmas movie. But I didn't only do Christmas movies, but since you brought up Christmas, those are Christmas movies.
Lifetime is known during the holiday season for those Christmas holiday movies.
They make you feel good.
Yeah, and I watch all of them.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, I've seen these. Yes. Okay. What's your favorite thing that you've produced?
Well, I probably have to say the one I was nominated for an Emmy for, which is the Robin Roberts presents Mahalia Jackson.
Okay.
So it was the story on Mahalia Jackson.
What got you into the project?
I was at Lifetime.
Yeah.
And when you're an executive at a company, you are either assigned to projects or you bring in projects.
Do you have an option to say no?
Not
like,
really.
Is it a work environment where like this is your assignment?
No, if your boss assigns you to a project, you're probably not gonna say no.
Okay, you're like, okay, I guess I'm working on this one now.
Exactly.
You never know. There's people that have like a different level of creative freedom, and I'm like, do you have that? Do you earn that?
At Lifetime, we were churning out so many movies. It was just like all hands on deck.
Okay, all the time.
We had big movies, and then the smaller thrillers that people like.
Yeah.
So our big budget movies at that time could get to like 5 or 6 million, and then all the small thriller ones probably were like around 1 million or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. What are you working on now?
So now, full circle, I'm back to being an independent producer. I think you didn't hear me, but after Lifetime, I went to Netflix.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, so I went to Netflix and then worked there for a while, and now I'm an independent producer again. And the fun part about being an independent producer now I have all these relationships I built around the town.
Yes.
And now I can go to those people, Netflix, Lifetime, Hallmark, all of those people, and say, hey, I have this project.
Yeah,
I
have this thing.
And tell us your story. Tell us your idea.
That's amazing.
Pitch your project.
How many projects do you have to produce? Like, what does this workload look like to be an independent producer?
Oh, so since I'm not at the level of J.J. Abrams, I wouldn't say the workload is. It's not like I have a million projects on deck, but they're time consuming. Yeah, because you have to work with writers and really develop a script. And though you would love to be like, oh, they get the story evolves. Yeah. And you're not going to get it on the first try. Okay. So it's a whole process, outlines, drafts to get the story, right. And you haven't even been on set yet. Forget that.
Yeah, so when you see about the background,
right? When you see those producers at the Oscars, like literally crying every time and saying, "I've been working on this for 7 years." Yeah, that's true.
Yikes! What keeps you motivated?
You just have to love the craft.
Okay. Because I feel like I'd be discouraged. Like, how many no's do you have to get to before you drop?
All the time.
How? Like, you say all the time, but...
All the time.
Okay.
So you have to let's just say it's way more no's than yeses. Well, you
only need one yes.
Yeah, you have to take the no's. They're not personal. It's just not for them. Everything is not for everybody.
Okay.
So you just got to find that right.
Is that the average?
Outlet.
7 years?
No, there's no average. That's the thing. There's no right answer.
See, I'm such an engineer. I need a timeline. I need us to be able to block this out. I need that project management. Like, what are we doing
there's
here?
There's no average. There's no usual. Everything is just different.
Okay. Yeah. But earlier, you said I kind of miss engineering. A little bit.
A little bit.
What about it do you miss?
Solving problems. Those kind of problems. I'm solving.
Okay, I was like,
problems on set.
Sounds like nothing
and
but
solving script problems.
Yes,
for sure. So I'm still always solving problems.
Yes,
but like sitting at your desk, looking at the equation.
No one wants to sit at it. That is not
doing working out those 3-page problems.
No.
And that feeling that you get like, I won. I worked out that problem. It took me 4 pages.
This is what we call hindsight.
You
bias.
know that feeling.
Not.
You remember that
to complete
feeling.
A problem set is like winning an award. Like, I did it. But I don't think I missed that.
Yeah.
I don't actually get to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. As a faculty member, I don't get to do that. You're helping nurture other students' minds and those feelings for them. But I don't think I could ever look back and say, I missed that. Mm-hmm. No, that was hazing. It's called academic hazing.
It was.
Yeah. No, I don't miss that.
It wasn't. It's not nice what those teachers did to us. Not nice.
Not at all. Not at all. That's what I was like. So I had to ask this. This is my messy question. Mm-hmm. You served in regional leadership with my husband.
Yes, Delano.
I told him I was going to ask. You got to give me a good Delano story.
I don't have the best memory in the world, but the one thing I remember was, I think Delano started off as the hype man.
Yes, he did.
So I'm remembering correctly?
You are remembering correctly.
The first year I was on the board, he wasn't on the board with me. We had another chair. And he was like, this hype man guy. Like, and I don't think we even had the position. Like, who's a hype man? Like, what is he doing?
Nothing. But yelling.
But yelling. Why is this guy yelling around the room?
Yeah.
Talking about 4 solid. Oh, we have a new chant. And it was like based off some rap song.
That is still tracks. He still does that. It's 2025, and he's still changing lyrics to rap songs to whatever suits his needs. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But it's just a great story because he went from that to being the regional chair, and I was on the board again, and he was my chair.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. You're like, I saw him as the knucklehead hype man turned leader. Mm-hmm. NSBE turns out monsters, doesn't it?
Yes.
Those leadership skills that come out.
For sure.
Okay. What did you learn the most from NSBE?
Just how to people solve, problem solve, and I would say produce.
Okay. And now you're a producer. This is an amazing story, because I feel like you never felt like you were put in the box, because you said at Georgia Tech I was living 2 lives. Mm-hmm. Like you didn't feel like you could tell people that you.
I didn't tell anyone. When Dr. May, who I think you interviewed.
Yeah, I did. He was on the podcast.
He was one of my advisors.
Yeah.
When I had to, do my dissertation.
Yeah.
And present to my advisor board. And they're literally the ones that say yay or nay.
Yes.
And if they say yay, they shake your hand and you have a PhD. If they say no, if they say nay, you got to go back to the drawing board and do some more time.
Yeah.
And so he was on my advisory board. And I think after they said yes and shook my hand, congratulations, Dr. Mekita Davis. That's when he found out that I was leaving and moving to Los Angeles.
What did he say?
He was supportive.
Okay, good.
But it was a shocker.
I bet he was like, wait, what?
And this is the funny story. So I probably knew about 2 weeks before my defense that I was going to do this. And I couldn't face anybody. I was like dodging people in the hallways, dodging Dr. May, my advisor. His name was Joy Laskar.
Yeah,
dodging him because I couldn't face anybody and tell them.
So how did you get through the defense? You're up there this whole time, kind of like,
yeah,
that is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And you moved to LA.
Mm-hmm.
And look at what you're doing now.
Yes.
I love it. Mm-hmm. But you also said in LA, you don't tell people that you have this PhD.
Yeah, LA, Hollywood is a very, I would say, insular industry.
Okay.
there are a lot of isms, I like to say, in Hollywood. There's ageism.
That's a big one.
You know,
they have.
I've seen how they treated people who they thought was too old.
Yeah.
Applying for a job. It's sad, right? Colorism.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times, they are let's say people are hired because of who they're related to.
Okay.
Often.
Nepotism is a thing. Okay.
You know?
Okay.
I have this rich, not me, but some rich uncle.
Yeah.
Was able to get him a job. So because of that, I needed to get on a desk, and most of my colleagues were 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So I didn't ever want to lose a job because they thought I was too old.
Okay. So I mean, that's a fair thing.
Yeah. So I didn't tell them about my past life.
Was that advice that you got, or did you just know?
I just knew.
That's how you got into all the top schools.
I think the first time anyone ever found out that I had a PhD was maybe 6 years into my career.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's the dream thing that you could do? If you could do anything right now, what would it be?
That's a very interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say tell the story of a lifetime.
Okay.
Meaning the most awesome story, the most heart-wrenching story, and maybe one day I'll be on that stage saying it took me 10 years to get this Oscar.
I want to say it's going to happen.
But it's definitely not about an Oscar. It's just about telling a story that is meaningful and changes lives. That's always what you want. Make the world a better place with your storytelling.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so as we close, you have to give us. You're a producer, so you must. Do you watch a lot of TV?
Mm-hmm, I do.
A lot of movies or TV show? Like, is there a mix?
Both.
Okay. Top 3 TV shows of all time.
Oh, that's easy.
How is this easy? This is tearing me up thinking about it. Okay, I want to hear.
I'm not an old school person. A lot of people have old school favorites.
I don't have an old school favorite right now.
So mine of all time, Game of Thrones.
Ooh, yes.
Breaking Bad.
It got weird at the end.
Oh, God, it got
Season
better and
1
better.
No, ma'am.
Did you make it to the very end?
Yes, but there were some weird seasons in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
And I don't know what third would be. I would say there are a lot of contenders.
Okay, give me at least 2 for the third place spot.
I really thought the first season of Homeland was like some great great storytelling.
Okay.
Yeah. What else? I don't know. I would have to think. I'm trying to think of some. I don't know. I would have to think some more.
This Is Us isn't up there for you?
I have to be honest. I don't watch a lot of prime time. Only because it takes up so much of your time. They're
it's long.
20 episodes, and I don't have that kind of time. I like to get in and get out.
Do you binge watch then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I binge watch everything. So I binge watched Paradise. Loved it.
So somebody was just telling me yesterday about Paradise.
It's good.
So I have to watch it.
Yeah, but I watch everything. So that's why I'm like,
Reasonable Doubt was fun.
Okay, Reasonable Doubt is a good show.
That was fun.
That's a good show.
Hulu, yeah.
But I don't know about Homeland. I didn't watch it. But I agree with your Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
The last season disappointed me, but that show was so
it was
good.
all that.
I was in it.
It was all that.
It was
the first season when they killed my favorite character. I was like, who does that?
I've never gotten over it.
That?
Never gotten over it. You can ask Delano. I'm like,
I'm still angry about that.
I'm so upset. It was the best TV moment ever, but also still breaks my heart. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for joining me. Should I call you Dr. Davis?
You can.
Okay. Thank you for joining me, Dr. Davis.
Even though it's so funny. So my middle name is Faiye.
Faiye.
And so yes, in LA, I'm known as Mekita Faiye.
Okay. So if people want to get in contact with you, is there something they should do?
I'm on LinkedIn as Mekita Faiye.
Look her up on LinkedIn as Mekita Faiye. But for me is Dr. Davis. I am so excited that you joined me. Thank you for sharing your life with us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
This was blessed.
Thank you. And come back for another episode of Princess of STEM Diaries.